Hello and welcome to another Gunsmith special. Today we're going to be looking at the FIE E-15. This is a 22 long rifle, 22 Magnum, single action revolver. This particular firearm I picked up at a pawn shop for about $75. It's missing some pieces and needs a deep cleaning. Before working on any firearms, you always want to make sure they are clear of ammo, and this one clearly is unloaded. So now that that is unloaded, go ahead and pull the base pin out. Removing the base pin will allow you to pop the cylinder out, and there it is. Like I said, this was missing pieces. This one is missing the whole ejector kit. So that's the tube and the spring, everything. So I was able to find one on Numrich for about $17. This is the 22 long rifle cylinder. I was able to find this on eBay for about $40. And for me, that is everything I need. I wanted a single action 22 pistol, something I could take out in the desert, and I have both cylinders. All in all is about 140 bucks, and the gun works fine now. Anyways, it doesn't match, but that's okay. I'm fine with that, and I kind of like the two-tone look anyways, to be honest. So here we go. As we start our disassembly, you'll want to remove the grip screw, and the grip screw is just a single screw. Pull it out and set it aside. Upon removing the grip screw, you'll see that the backstrap is held in with 5 screws, and then you have that main spring in there and the stock pin as well. We'll get to removing those later. Like I said, this firearm needed some cleaning. You can see the gunk and the buildup in there, and we'll really see more of it as we tear this down. So removing the backstrap screws, there's 5 of them total, 2 at the top, 2 at the bottom, and 1 in the front. Now that the backstrap and trigger guard are removed, I can go ahead and remove the internal pieces off the frame of the revolver. Removing the trigger and bolt screws are pretty simple. Once you remove the hammer screw right there you go, the hammer will fall out. And when the hammer falls out, you'll see that it's connected to the hand spring. So that's also right there. These are dirty. Like I said, this thing came from a pawn shop, so it's in pawn shop condition. Yeah, this thing just had some gunk in it, and we're gonna go ahead and remove all that. There is the hand and the spring, and then there is the hammer. You see how those just go together. This next screw holds the trigger in place. In addition to holding the trigger in place, it also holds the bolt in place. So we'll remove that one next. As you can tell, you pull the screw out, trigger will fall out, and then after the trigger falling out, that is where, there you go, look at that dirty trigger. Next, we're removing the trigger and bolt spring. This trigger and bolt spring is held together with 1 screw. That's out, and now that the trigger and bolt spring is out, the bolt will fall out. Just like that. This is pretty filthy in itself. Again, it's a 22, so that's what we expect. Right, now we have all the internal components out. Right around here is where I noticed a detent for the gate will fall out. Because that was held in place with the spring, right there's the detent. The spring came out when we pulled the frame and the grip off. So the backstrap and the trigger guard came off with Yep, and then there is the gate. The stock pin, which is still attached to the mainspring in the grip. I keep calling it the grip. It's the backstrap and the trigger guard assembly. That's what it is. I did use a punch to kind of push this out. I got smart after a while, and I just used the vise to just push the whole thing out. So much easier. There it is. So again, I started to remove that stock pin. Totally a waste of time doing it with a punch. If you have a vise, that's the way to go. Alright, so really most of the internal components are off the receiver and the backstrap. Yeah, I'm going to remove that base pin catch assembly next, and it's pretty simple. You just got to lay the receiver flat and use 2 screwdrivers. That's all there is to it. Just cleaning all the little gunk out of the cracks and crevices of this revolver. Being a .22, they get notoriously dirty, and it's always easier to clean it out prior to putting it in the ultrasonic cleaner. Here we go. I'm going to dip all the parts in the cleaner. I like to use a T-diffuser for all the small parts in the ultrasonic cleaner. Just kind of makes it easy to keep everything in one area. Alright, we're just gonna crank through all this ultrasonic cleaning. Obviously heat it up, throw everything in there, and I'll show you in a moment how much dirt comes off. Here is where I'm actually removing that base pin. Again, you do it with 2 screwdrivers, and that's all there is to it. Now, to remove the barrel, you first want to remove the barrel pin. Both the barrel and the firing pin are held together with a pin, so we go ahead and punch through it. Pretty simple to do. I just tighten this one up. So now that we have all the parts clean and dry, we'll go ahead and just give it another wipe down, a thorough cleaning, and we can start to put everything back together. We'll go ahead and start with that main spring and that stock pin. So just put it back together the way it came out. So using a punch and a vise, definitely the way to go. Check it to make sure it fits the grips. It did just fine. I wanted to show you what the inside of the ultrasonic cleaner looked like. It doesn't look too dirty from here. Let's wipe it out and you'll really see how much crud came off of those parts. Not the worst, but certainly could use that cleaning, so we were justified in throwing it in there. Alright, here are all the pieces. They are clean, they are ready to be reassembled. So I definitely want to make sure that the barrel was nice and straight. Now that it is, go ahead and punch it back into place. Everything seems to be aligned. So I will use some Loctite on some of the screws, and obviously I'm going to grease it up because that ultrasonic cleaner took all the lubrication off. So the internal components will be next. So again, that base pin catch goes together just like so, the spring, and then you screw the two pieces together and use a couple screwdrivers to get it tight. So to start with, we will put the trigger in, and with the trigger we'll also put in the bolt. So the bolt can only go in one way, and you'll see because it has to work with the cylinder. There is the bolt. The bolt and the trigger will use the same screw. So go ahead and put the trigger in place first, slide the screw forward, and then you can go ahead and slip the bolt in there. So again, starting with the bolt, put the bolt in place. With the trigger like so. And if you recall how that hammer and hand and spring fell out, just like that, that's how they'll go right back in. You'll find that there's a groove for it to slide into. Position the hand in the spring so when it slides up, it will move the cylinder. Now we're ready to put everything back together, so I do want to grease it up. Now the trigger and the bolt are in place. Go ahead and screw the screw down. Adjusting these two screws will also adjust the pull of the trigger. Alright, that is the trigger and bolt spring, and it goes in one way. Now that the trigger and the hammer are functioning, we can go ahead and put the backstrap back on. Remember, we will want to put the gate in first, so the gate and then the detent and the spring will slide into their respective holes. There we go. So gate in, put it in place. Just a little bit of lube anywhere metal touches metal. So gate is in, then we have the detent and the spring, and we just slide those in place like so. Now we're ready to reassemble the backstrap and trigger guard to the frame. So again, 5 screws total, 1 in the front, 2 in the bottom, and then 2 in the rear. Just a hair of Loctite. Now, because that spring is pushing up against the backstrap and trigger guard, you will want to make sure it just pushes down directly straight. Now here are the new pieces from Numrich. One of the screws didn't exactly fit like it was supposed to. Again, this FIE is a import. They were made by all kinds of manufacturers. This particular one says made in Germany on the cylinder. So it's no surprise that the screws vary from model to model, or from manufacturer to manufacturer. Now this is the whole ejection repair kit. It comes with the spring, the rod, the head, the tube, everything in one kit. I always like to put a little thin layer of lube on the spring just to keep things nice and lubricated. Slide those together like that. And then I noticed this kit actually didn't keep it as tight as one of the extra screws that I bought. So I actually swapped that out. So the screw that came with the kit was just a little bit too long. Now you'll notice the ejection tube does not match the rest of the revolver. That's because it was just a kit. See, there it is. See, that screw just kind of hangs out a little bit. So we're going to back that out and put this smaller one in its place. It functions, it just doesn't look pretty. I think I might re-blue this whole thing in another video. I just want to take this out and test fire it and make sure it works. Really, everything's back together now. Put that grip screw back in place and take it out. And there she is, back in working condition with new pieces. Again, it's got a funky look to it with all the different colors. It's absolutely ugly, but there's something to it. That was the long rifle cylinder, and now here is the 22 Magnum cylinder. Again, it functions. And there it is, back together, the FIE E-15. And there she is, cleaned and restored, repaired, the FIE E-15 22 long rifle and 22 Magnum. Again, I don't like the unfinished look, so I do feel like there will probably be a rebluing video coming up in this project soon. Thanks for watching. As always, please like and subscribe and all that good stuff.